Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. I'll wait for a couple of you guys to come in to make sure that you guys can hear me before I start running my mouth. Because you guys know once I start running my mouth, it's going to be kind of difficult for you to stop me from running my mouth. Um, but I guess I'll just talk to myself for a minute because I do that anyway. But anyway, I know it has been a minute since I did a predictions video of any sort when it pertains to what's been going on in the world. Now, if you guys follow me on my Twitter of the count, I do post or tweet about prediction stuff all the time. Not all the time, majority of the time, I do tweet about predictions or just look over charts and stuff like that that I've noticed. Okay, so if you are kind of a little bit hungry for predictions from me and I haven't did a video like this, you can always go to my Twitter account. That information is in the description box. And sometimes whenever I do predictions on Twitter, I try to move them over to my website. If you are a part of like my little app thing on my website, there is a little portion on the little app for my website where it shows you my forum, my astrology discussions, which I have the forum on my website as well. But I don't know if it automatically loads whenever I make a blog post on my little mobile app thing. Okay, I haven't really tried it out. I know I should have, but I just haven't. Okay. So yeah, of course, if you guys missed the news, I'm not necessarily doing personal readings like that per se when it pertains to, just personal readings because it is a lot. Again, I did put like a same day chat type of feature on my website, which I literally just found. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I literally just found out about this a couple of days ago, a week ago, or something like that. So you can have like a live session with me, but you only got me for like 15 minutes. So you better keep those questions short and concise. But I'm still going to give you detail, but I'm only giving 15 minutes of myself because that's only what I'm willing to give. And please don't make the questions difficult because I might have to call you out. um, but yes. Oh, sorry. Hello, Ashley, Yolanda, lovely, welcome in, love 44 Diamond. It is Monday, isn't it? KD, Selena, Roberta. Hello to all you guys that normally are always here for my live. So I really do appreciate that. At least I got a few fans or just a few people that want to hear me ramble. So I appreciate that. We're going to have the stragglers that are nosy and because they only want to get what they want to get that benefits them. They pop in and out and really get on my nerves. But outside of that, 90% of you guys, you're okay with me. Okay. So I hope everybody's week and life has been going well. I'm tired. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not tired from life. I'm just freaking tired from the 50 million things, the million and different one capes that I put on every single day. So I'm a little tired from that. But, we're here. And I always manage to put a smile on my face because, I could be dead and gone, as my grandma would say, but I'm still here. So yeah. Hello, Goldie, or anybody else that has popped in. So predictions. We are here for predictions, and I did want to talk a little bit about this whole Saturn and Pisces situation. Of course, if you have been missing the news in the astrology world, Saturn has entered into or is in the sign of Pisces. It has finally moved out of the sign of Aquarius. So, for those of you that have Saturn and Aquarius in your natal chart, your Saturn return is pretty much officially over, give or take, because I think Saturn may be retrograding again. So I take that back. I lied. Um, it may still be a little bit left to sweep around the front door, but nonetheless, we're almost out of the woods. Okay. So there's that. So now, we're handing over the torch to our Saturn and Pisces natives, and we're just going to see how you guys are going to manage your Saturn return. Saturn return doesn't have to be difficult. It's only difficult if you make it difficult because That's life. Life is difficult if you choose to make it difficult, okay? But, like I said, after I kinda talk a little bit about the predictions that I have written down, I will, talk more about Saturn and Pisces. Because if you guys missed my last video that I did on Ariana Grande, I said I am gonna start studying Greek mythology more, so I found a really cool book that's like 800 pages, but it is the entire encyclopedia of every single god and goddess in Greek mythology, and honestly, I am enjoying it. I really am enjoying it. It is definitely bringing back up memories from school because I had a Greek mythology class in elementary. Why I had a Greek mythology class in elementary, I don't know, but I had one, and I was so excited to go to that class. And then afterwards, when I moved on to middle school, you just didn't have it anymore. So reading this encyclopedia is really unlocking a lot of core memories. Okay, it really is making my day. Like I had to travel yesterday, and I was in that book the whole entire way. And then even after I was finished doing whatever I had to do and I was tired as hell, I picked it back up and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is just so refreshing." I love a good book, especially a good encyclopedia, but that's probably like, you know, that's just me. So, if you guys I don't know if I'm able to share it with you. Um I don't know how I'll be able to do that. I don't know if I'll be able to upload it on Google Drive and maybe see if you guys can get it that way. But if you are interested, let me know and I will try to find a way to upload it, or I will send you the link for where I got the book for free. I did get it for free, and it's a great copy. Okay, it's so clear. So if you guys are interested in it, I will send it to you. But I'm only saying that because on my trip with astrology, I am learning a lot, about the planets and stuff like that. So I'm going deeper into that study by learning about the myths or mythologies behind, Venus, the sun, Saturn, all that stuff, and it's just like so interesting. And, I'm putting that into practice as well when it pertains to my predictions that I do on celebs. That's why I said, you have to follow me on Twitter because a lot of times I am updating my Twitter like in real time as I'm learning new stuff. I posted, and it's on my Instagram as well, but yesterday I posted I learned about Heracles, or AKA Hercules, and there's an asteroid in our natal chart that is actually Hercules, and it can be where you achieve godlike status, like where you could be seen as a god, or you just have that godlike quality, pretty much like Hercules. Okay, but we can't ignore the fact that Hercules also was mortal, so he had a human side, human qualities to him as well that are not so great unless you learn how to work through those things. So I posted that on my Instagram and I also posted on my website. I think it's there in the forum where you guys can pull up your own natal charts and see where you have Heracles at. Oh, I did post about, look, I am not on Doja Cat's ass. Trust me, okay? If you guys have talked to me long enough, you know I don't give a shit about these people. And I mean that in the nicest way. I just don't. I have my own stuff going on and I'd rather stare at the trees, sometimes. So I did do Doja Cat's Heracles placement yesterday, which is so interesting. I guess, well, she has hers in Pisces in the fifth house. So I pretty much was saying in my thread that she was going to be famous regardless if she kind of like wanted to or not, because subconsciously she put that in her mind. Because Pisces is also tied to Jupiter, which is tied to our manifestations, which is tied to Neptune. So, it's one of those things where they literally say you have to be careful what you wish for. Specifically, Pisces placements and probably heavy Neptune. And I'm still learning if Sagittarius would kind of like fall in that, since Sagittarius is tied to Jupiter. But you really, 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 really have to be mindful about what you say, what you think, what's in your subconscious, because your stuff may come true more than anybody else. And depending on kind of like what you wished for or what you manifested, you may not really like the outcome whenever the time comes for it to happen. Okay? Um, oh my God. Okay, I'm about Lola, whoever you are, I don't have time. Okay, you guys are so fucking selfish, and I'm not talking to the ones that I normally talk to majority of the time. I'm talking to Lola specifically. I am gonna call you out because I just said, do not make me call you out, okay? Because I'm really just not in the mood. Post Saturn return, I'm really not in the mood. You're so fucking selfish. Did you not read the title or you popped your ass in here because it's what you want to fucking hear instead of paying attention to what I am saying? And I am talking to you like I'm your mother right now, and I should not have to do this. You're too old for this. So if you feel offended, thank God. You should be because I've already forewarned you. You cannot be selfish with me. I will be the worst fucking person to you. I really will. So that's it. That's enough. Whenever I want to do what I want to do, then that's what's going to happen. And that's it. You're gone. I don't have time. Goodbye. No, no, no. I don't give a shit. I don't care. You're done. I can't deal with you, and Goodbye. You. That exhausts me. So I'm sorry, everybody else, that you had to hear that, but it's just what it is. Anyway, you made me lose my train of thought, and I don't like that shit either. Um. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so back to what I was talking about. So I posted that and stuff on my Twitter page. So you guys, like I said, you can always go look at that on my website as well. If you guys want to see how you can kind of like find your own placement, which can be beneficial for you if you want to kind of like look at what area of your life you can achieve this particular type of status or however you want to call it. But of course, it comes with consequences. So I talked about Mike Tyson and all that good stuff and like that as well. So those are examples that I gave that you can follow. Of course, if you get stuck, I am here. So, predictions. That shit just really pissed me the fuck off. As much shit as I give, you got to be fucking kidding me. And if you were in my face right now, I would have something for your ass. But since you're not, we're gonna have to just, do it this way. Um. Anyway, so predictions, and then we'll go and talk about Saturn and Pisces, and we'll go over a little bit of the mythology behind that when it pertains to Saturn and Pisces, because I think you guys are going to find that really interesting, and it's also going to be something that will be good for you to know in terms of not necessarily what to avoid, I guess, but just what to be careful of. Okay. Anyway, so, starting with the prediction, starting at the top. Now, this first one that I'm going to mention, I know for certain it is tied to like a sports injury, but I'm not saying that it couldn't necessarily happen to like people who aren't necessarily in the sports sector. Okay. So, Tommy gun syndrome, which I know I've heard of that when it pertains to like baseball and stuff. That's a baseball injury. So, yeah, I don't even know how you even possibly get that injury if you're not. I don't know if that's like a tied to your rotator cuff or like I know, like I said, I know what it is, but I wouldn't even know how you even possibly get that if you are just like an average Joe. I don't know. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay, so Istanbul keeps coming up. This has been like the fourth year, third or fourth year in a row that Istanbul has come up. I don't know what's going on. Is that Turkey? I think that is Turkey. So I don't necessarily know what is going on in that sector of the world, but it keeps coming up every single time I do a prediction. So I don't know if this is already happening or this is something that hasn't necessarily happened, but yes, okay. So, the Galapagos Islands. Don't know what's going on when it pertains to that either. But either way, issues with the throat or issues with the voice. Now, this I'm assuming can probably come from a whole bunch of different things, okay? Especially if you're not being mindful about, straining your voice or things that you're eating or just not really taking care of your throat the way you're supposed to. Yes, but let's say like throat chakra, so issues with um communication, and not just on a manner of like if somebody has some sort of a communication problem, not just that, just communication period when it pertains to how people communicate, either it's probably just not, probably just per usual, people are just not coming out and just saying it. It's coming out like a puzzle. Like I should not have to decipher a puzzle to understand or get what you're trying to say. Just come out and say it. This is probably going to get worse. But I also would say, with this being said, you have to watch and be mindful just what's being said. Because again, it is a puzzle. They may be saying one thing, and then it really is something else. Okay, I feel like that's going to be even worse. It's already bad. We already know this. It's already bad. Some of you guys have already experienced this because of people that you have to deal with, but it's going to get worse. Okay, so that sucks. And I don't know, who knows if maybe somebody's going to pop up and then they're going to turn that into some sort of a business in terms of, let me communicate for you, or let me talk for you so that, I can help you with your communication. But I wouldn't be surprised because people come up with crazy ideas all the time. So, I mean, I guess maybe the AI or chat GPT, whatever you want to call it, is kind of doing that. But some people may just want a human. Okay. What else do we got? Okay, so I initially got the word Smith. So I'm like, who knows? I don't know if it's Will Smith or just some sort of particular type of Smith that could be coming out with some sort of, I don't know. But then more information came through, and I got Smith and Weston, or is it Wesson? Is it two S's or one T? I can't remember. But gun manufacturer. So some news possibly tied around this particular gun manufacturer or manufacturers with an S. Okay. Okay, so this one isn't really shocking to me because I feel like this happens every day, but this one may specifically make like national news. So some sort of incident when it pertains to the police lying. Pretty big lie, blatant lie, but obviously, like I said, it is going to be, or it could be, excuse me, it could be something that's going to make national headlines. So who knows in what area this will be in, because to me, this is kind of happens a lot. So, um hopefully it's not something tied to trafficking, because I did put trafficking right underneath it, which would be really bad, but I'm going to keep it on the paper because, it is a possibility. Um, Hawaii, something going on when it pertains to Hawaii. Who knows what that could be? Eagle Eye. Now, this could go one or two ways. Eagle Eye is a movie with Shia LaBeouf, and I don't remember the woman who played next to him. I don't remember her name. Dang. I normally am good with this. But either way, I remember him, but there may be a sequel to this, or there is a hidden message in that particular movie. Now, that particular movie, I believe, was actually a big, I think the plot was more so tied to artificial intelligence. So Eagle Eye, iRobot, movies like that are have a lot of hidden messages in them, and I'm only saying this because I feel that they're going to play a part in something that's coming up. What it is, we don't know because it hasn't came yet. Okay. Um. Okay, Memphis. Talking about Tennessee, in case you didn't know. Memphis, Tennessee, Bill Street. Okay. I mean, I don't know how much stuff happens on Bill Street. It's not that, I mean, it's far, but it ain't super, super far from where I'm at. So who knows? I guess we'll just have to see. I think, weren't they in the news anyway for, like, was it last year where there that incident that happened where the man died in all of their custody? Maybe I'm in the wrong area. I feel like that possibly was Memphis, but I could be wrong about that. Okay, this is a prediction that I've came up with before, and it keeps coming up over the last couple years. Some of you guys remember it, the eloping situation. So, at one point, the marriage industry, we talked about that before. At one point, the marriage industry was going to be pretty, you know, big or increase in, I guess, size or revenue. Now it's probably going to decrease because more people are probably going to go for less cheaper options when it comes to getting married. And it could just simply just be one of those things where you take a step back and you realize what a complete waste of money. Okay. So that is going to be more. Okay. I've said it, like I said, the last couple years, but it keeps coming up. Okay. Okay, so some sort of tragic storm is coming. It doesn't really, it seems pretty bad. And I don't know if that has something to do with the fact that, Saturn and Pisces, maybe. But it does feel like it is pretty bad. Um, I didn't really get a location. I don't think I even asked, but maybe I did put it down on a different page. So we have about maybe like 4 pages to go through of predictions. Okay, so if I'm boring you, just tell me I'm boring you, and then we'll shut it down. I'm fine with that, to be honest. Okay, but what else am I looking at? Okay, catwalk model situation. All right, so I think again, this may be a piggyback off of what I kind of already talked about how, pageants and stuff like that may start to kind of like go away a little bit because of the stigma and stuff like that surrounding pageants, which is fine. Um, I mean, honestly, I don't really think that would be a bad thing because I mean, I guess I get the concept of pageants, but I don't really get the reason why. Okay, I just don't really see, like, long-term benefit outside the fact that you get a crown and a sash and, you get remembered for but I don't know the other long-term benefits really of the whole pageant situation. Besides dang near kind of like fold into societal pressures and having to look a certain way, be a certain type of way, because that's okay. I don't know about that. But anyway, all right, so an increase in elevator accidents or incidents. Okay. I think that came up a couple months ago and it came up again. So if some of these are a repeat, it's not because I went back and I scoured through my books because I have a lot of them. It just comes up again. So I just roll with it. All right. Um, okay. We got another one. Okay, so could be a contagious disease again, or there is a movie called Contagion, or that may not be the right title for the movie that I'm thinking about. But yeah, something tied to that particular movie, but I do feel like it's possible another contagious disease is coming up. It may be similar to C-19 because I am getting it may start in the lungs, but again, we have to see, okay? Um, some of you may have possibly already heard about this. We're not talking about the contagious disease, but they haven't really gave it a name because the symptoms are different, okay? Um, okay, so Prince, talking about the singer, documentary. Could be, I should say could be, not should be, could be coming. Okay, the Los Angeles Times, either they have a scandal going on that will be coming out, or they're going to be posting about a pretty big scandal. So again, we'll be having to watch for that as well. Okay. Um, Elton John, something tied to a car when it pertains to Elton John. Hopefully, it's not anything bad because that would just not be good. Because I actually like Elton John, Rocket Man. I mean, I would say I like his music. I do like his music. I'm not gonna lie. And I've really enjoyed the movie that they did about him with is it Egan Hagerton? Is that his name? I think that's his name. I really enjoyed that movie, literally called Rocket Man. But I might watch that after I get finished with this. Okay, so blood disorder, specifically a blood disorder, or something found in the blood that they will be posting about, um, testing about, finding something about. Okay. Okay, so the next is dealing with water, which goes along with there's been a lot of accidents tied to the water that have been happening. Okay. So a boat unable to dock or it gets stuck at a dock. Okay. Um, has that been happening? I don't know if that has been happening or not. It may not necessarily really be the best time for long distance travel across the seas. And I'm not discouraging anybody to not get on the water, but it's just precautions, I guess. Um, boats. Oh, I already talked about that. Okay, so Okay, this one was interesting. An increase possibly in car accidents, but it's tied to something issues with oil or issues with the leaks when it pertains to car. So again, I talked about it in the past about these manufacturers pumping out these cars really, really fast, but it also could boil down to who you are taking your car to when it comes to getting an oil change. Okay, we know that that can be one of those, it's like a toss up. Okay, but it seems like it could possibly be getting worse. So, again, make sure you are being mindful or I guess taking precautions when it comes to that. Um, Okay, so I picked up a faulty disbursement of funds. This seems like the government, and I don't know where this would be coming from, though, in terms of who is supposed to be getting disbursement of funds. Where it could be Social Security, which I predicted that last year, where I said Social Security, we got an issue, and lo and behold, maybe 6, 8 months later, they talked about Social Security, we have an issue. Like they were taking money out of Social Security, possibly to fund or do something. So we got another situation going on here, possibly when it pertains to the government, a faulty disbursement of funds. Unless that could be tied to, bank accounts. That's the FDIC. So again, we'll be watching. Um, Ad revenue, that doesn't surprise me. Now it would be crazy if they turn around and they were just like, okay, when it pertains to you getting any sort of ad revenue, like when it comes to posting on platforms, that is a no-go. That would suck if they just completely kind of like did away with that, or they it's likely they could decrease the amount. So if you're like a YouTuber and you're monetized, they may decrease the amount even more. So at that point, it's like, what's the point of even trying to get ad revenue? But that's what they kind of like want you to do. They kind of like want you to quit. You know what I'm saying? Um anyway, moving on to my next page. We're on page 2 now. Michael Phelps. Okay, got some news possibly coming when it pertains to Michael Phelps if it hasn't already came out. Um Now this one was interesting. Great yeah, gray-eyed fish, but I looked it up a little bit because 'cause I'm like, "What does gray-eyed fish mean?" Apparently, like, I guess cloudy eyes in fish can mean that there is a bacteria. So speaking of that, since we know that we do eat fish, bacteria in fish, we have an issue. Because I think I did put, food lower down the list, okay? So and I can't really say specifically what fish it would be because any fish could get gray eyes if there's a bacteria. So I can't really say that it's like a cod or it is like flounder salmon. I can't really say that because they all could have those symptoms, have bacteria. Sorry, I forgot one last part on the fish. Fish dying, possibly. Okay. Um Okay, so you guys may not really know much about this, but I know about this because it's in my circle. Michelle Akers, she was a soccer player for the 99ers who won the World Cup when it was in Los Angeles. Something possibly tied to her. Um, Lisa Leslie also came up as well. So something could be tied to her as well. I've been talking about evangelicals, which is not shocking, okay, because there's could be more news or something going on with these evangelicals that could be coming out in the future. Pope news tied to the Pope. I mean, this one may actually come sooner. I mean, maybe possibly, maybe I guess maybe my spirit guides really like the number 3, so it could possibly be like 3 months from now. But hold your breath on that. Um, okay, so talks of a Scandal reboot. If you've never seen a Scandal, it has well, it's Olivia Pope, but that would be Kerry Washington, and is it Terry Goldwyn or is it Tom Gold? I don't know his name. Who he played the president. So they may be possibly talking about rebooting that, or they will possibly think about creating a spinoff based off of possibly some sort of character in there. Okay, it was on for like 8 seasons, so they should have like a lot of content to sift through. So it shouldn't really be that big of a deal to do a spinoff if they're going to do that. So the next year of the ox. Now I'm talking about Chinese astrology or yeah, Chinese astrology because they have like year of the rat, year of the dragon, year of the tiger, year of the pig. Okay, if you guys are familiar with that. The next year of the ox, which is 2033, will be a very, 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 very significant year. And I don't think I can really stress how significant it's going to be. Now, what I did not go into depth of that, but I was getting it's pretty big because, so, but that's in 10 years from now. Now, the last year of the ox was during what? C19. So we don't know if it's going to be a repeat or it could be something possibly just as bad, but may not necessarily a virus. But yes, 2033 significant year. Okay. The city of Bangkok. We're gonna have to see what's gonna go happen whenever it pertains to that. Feces in food. I mean, that's just disgusting. Feces in food. So going into this particular time period, it may be more beneficial definitely to cook your own food, which we've been talking about that. If you guys can remember way back, we have been talking about that. Um, but yes, I mean that's just pretty bad. That's just pretty bad. And it may be like actual yeah, that's pretty gross. Um, okay, and this leads me into kind of like my next point, I guess. Stomach ulcers are going to be a an issue. Stomach ulcers, which digestive issues, digestive tract, also more people being lactose intolerant. I'm telling you, it's the food. Of course, we know that, but it's just getting increasingly worse. So, I remember saying in the past about how farmers and, people that are skilled when it pertains to growing their own food and healthy stuff like that. I talked about how that's going to be, really beneficial for the world for those people to come up from hiding and help the world or like herbalists and stuff like that. That would be really beneficial to the world because it's going to need it because the food is just really bad. um, oh, misdiagnoses again. Okay, I don't know how these doctors or hospitals or I mean, I know people make mistakes because we're all humans, but I really don't understand how they're getting away with this stuff because there's a lot of misdiagnoses coming up even more. And again, I don't know if that also has something to do with like schooling because during the lockdown and stuff like that, you wasn't really getting a lot of education, in class education that can really help you. And at that point, people are just being passed. So I don't want it to be that type of situation where that's what's going on, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so Leo, I think this is tied to the actor. So Leonardo DiCaprio, news. Okay, another admission scandal. I mean, I don't understand what's it gonna take. What's it gonna take for them to stop? But then again, at the same time, am I surprised? No, because admission scandals happen every day. Um, I've I've laid witness to a couple of these happening. They didn't get caught, lucky for them. But, I've, happened to be around the people where their parents, had the financial means to like get them into school because, so yes, it is going to be it's probably going to be increasing even more, especially because they passed. The Supreme Court did the thing when it what's it called? Somebody remind me what's it called? The thing that they undid. Is it affirmative action? I think that's what it is. If it's affirmative action, then I get that. I guess that's what I'm talking about. But yes, so um, leaks in ceilings. So this is definitely tied to construction. Some of you that I've did readings for, I've been talking to you about this for like the last couple months. Roof leaks and stuff like that. Yes. So I think this is going to increase as well, which is kind of interesting because they rebuilt the high school that I went to, and I think like a couple months after school started, the leak was so bad. When I say so bad, it was so bad. There's like buckets everywhere, like a whole bunch of water damage. So yes. A, oh, I already talked about that. A transfer of wealth. So the main people that hold the wealth in the world, not saying they won't hold wealth, but there's going to be a different wave of people coming up in the world that is going to hold wealth. Okay. More crowdfunding. Okay, which I don't think this is necessarily going to be like a bad thing because crowdfunding can be good, if it's tied to inventions that are going to help the world, help society. So I can't necessarily say that that would be a super bad thing, but it can be bad if you have people crowdfunding and what they're crowdfunding for, they're not using the money towards making that thing become a thing. Okay, which I think I missed a page. I feel like I missed a page. I missed something because I remember writing this down, or maybe it's on here in the back. Yeah, it's in the back. Which I will talk about that in a second. So yeah, crowdfunding and cannibalism. I don't really know how to feel about that one. Like maybe people showing them eating like raw meat. I kind of take that as cannibalism. To me, like no cooking, no seasoning, no nothing. You're just devouring raw meat. And I feel to me that is very similar to cannibalism. But maybe I'm just looking at it wrong, but that's how I take it. You know what I'm saying? Um so let's see, one, two. I have hold on. I have three more. Yeah. I have three more pages to go. So I will if you have any questions about what I've talked about, I feel like such a teacher. If you have any questions about what I have mentioned or talked about thus far, shoot before we move over to page 3, 4, and 5. Okay. If you don't have any questions, then just let me know and we will move on over to pages 3, 4, and 5. And then we will do this again, see if you guys have any questions or if there are questions about world predictions, not about your life because it's not about you right now. There any questions about world predictions, something that you have heard about or you may find interesting that you want me to look into, feel free to put them in the chat. Okay, and we will, or I will address them unless I've already addressed it in the other predictions that I have coming up. But yes, so I'll stop talking for like a second in case you guys have questions. Don't be scared, to put your questions out there that don't have anything to do with you. I want to reiterate that. Oh, good question. Um, that's a good question too. Okay, Karina, that's a good question. So that might require me to actually pull the cards on that one. Karina, Yolanda, I didn't really get anything tied to electric batteries and cars. I got more so like oil leaks. And I don't know if maybe this is why a big bulk of them or manufacturers are going more so electric. I don't know if that what I'm saying has something to do with that, but that's just what I was getting. Oh, hey Ollie, welcome. Oh, Roberta, that's a good question. We might have to run a o- okay, Ollie, before you type your question, if it has anything to do with what's going on in your personal life, I don't want it. And I mean that in the best way. I don't want it. Not saying it's not important, but I don't want it because this is just not the live for that. Okay. We're, doing world stuff and I just don't want to mix in personal stuff. Okay. So I just yeah, I don't know if I would even do something personally speaking. So just keep it to yourself, please. Okay. So back to what I was saying about Roberto. We might have to do a chart on that if you guys don't mind. I know me doing astrology is definitely overwhelming. I get that and I really try to not make it as overwhelming because even And I know this is weird, even whenever I go back and I look at what I put down or what I got, I'm just like, how did you get that? But in the moment, I totally get it. My brain is totally clicked over and I get everything that I'm saying. But I go back and I'm just like, okay, Ollie, that's a good question, actually. I'm glad that you mentioned that because I think I do have something put down on my predictions about work that is on like page 4. So don't get mad at me because I'm not saying that this is going to be a definite whenever we get to the part where I start talking about the work industry. Do not get mad at me, but this is just what I'm picking up. And honestly, you don't really have to be tuned in to kind of like pay attention to your surroundings and kind of like see that this may be where we're kind of going. So we'll get there in a second, okay? Um but yes, to Yolanda and Roberta about the is it Carly? The woman that went missing that we don't know if it was a hoax or it was not a hoax. I might have to do an event chart on that to kind of like see if it was a hoax or if maybe she has some other issues going on. I heard mental health being thrown around. So we might just have to do a chart reading on that just to see, you know. Anyway, somebody else. Oh, Ruby. Do I see people living in paid gated communities? Yes, I do. I actually talked about this on I know I keep referring back to my Twitter, but it's just so easy to type in my Twitter. It just really is. Um, but yes, Ruby, I absolutely tweeted about this. This may have been in March or April of this year. So I was a little bit ahead of the curve, maybe not like as much as everybody else, but I absolutely that is a yes. I don't know. There is somebody, I don't know if the person who follows me on Twitter is in this live because I think she too is also an astrologer, and we had like a Discord back and forth about this. But Aquarius, I think it's like apartments. You know, I guess like or like townhouses or like condos and stuff like that, or maybe that's the moon. I'll have to look back up what I said, but maybe it's maybe I can pull it up. But yes, more communities will be gated off to where, um, you have to have, the passcode or who knows, special kind of number or however you want to say it. Um, but I don't know if I don't think I have my thing logged into this. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe I can log in. Hopefully. Oh, I do have it. What's the password? Sorry. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Roberta, I did not know that. I haven't really been keeping up with that story a lot. I just, looked at it and I saw the press conference. So if you guys didn't see the press conference, it is on YouTube, which was pretty interesting. Her search history. So even if I was a police officer or FBI, I would be kind of like giving the side eye as well. Like your search history is pretty peculiar, considering what just happened. So I could see that, but who really knows the true story but her? I can't even really say her parents really know the true story because they probably don't. Because they probably were felt, how do you search on this thing? I can't I can't search on here. Like I can search on my phone when it comes to my profile, but for crying out loud, I can't search on here unless I'm missing it. Well, what the heck? What's the point? Anyway, I'll have to go back and look at that. um Yes, so Ruby, I would say yes. Once I find that, I will find it and I will let you know. But yes, I think I see a lot more people moving to apartments, kind of giving up that whole house living because Capricorn which Pluto was in the sign of Capricorn for Lord knows how long. How long was Pluto in Capricorn? Like 20 years or something like that? 24 years. Capricorn rules over like castles and stuff like that. So that would make sense during that particular time where people want to have the biggest house on the block, people want to have the most land. I'm not saying that landowners won't still exist and stuff like that, but now people will probably use the land that they bought and probably find a way to make residual income from it, or not residual, maybe, or passive income by building apartment complexes, duplexes, and stuff like that, instead of trying to have the biggest house on the block. Because this is going to go into page 4, a lot of people will be wanting to go the more I want to say lazy, but probably just maybe it's I mean, managing buildings and stuff, it doesn't seem it's not lazy because that requires a lot of work, but I can't think of the right word. But a lot of people will want to go the route where trying to be landlords, let's say that. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting to know. That's a good comment there, Ruby. That what I'm talking about is already actually taking place in South America. I mean, me personally, I don't really know what the big deal is, but that's just me. I'm so just like I said the other day, I'm so low chill. As long as you have a roof over your head, I really don't care if it's a teepee. If it's a roof and you can sustain yourself and you can be happy and you can be comfortable, what does it matter if you own a house or not? You ain't about to convince me of nothing. If I don't want to own a house, I don't want to own a house. If I want to live where I don't have to worry about paying for nothing to get repaired, then I ain't no shame in my game. You can't shame me into shit. But that's just me. So I would say the same thing should go for you guys as well. Don't let nobody shaming you into anything. As long as you can still survive and be okay, then what's the big deal? It's really who cares? And that's just that was I just feel like that was kind of like, I get the point, long-term benefits, generational wealth, yada yada to the east and to the west. But whatever. You do what suits you. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise, because then you're not following who you are. You're following what somebody else wants you to do. Okay? Ollie, if you have questions, just drop them. Okay? Um oh shit, I ripped my page, but I didn't rip it. It just comes out. Anyway. So we're gonna go ahead, Ollie, and drop your question. I'm just gonna go ahead and start you know, going to page 3 of my predictions. Okay. So we're on page 3 now, my predictions. So now maybe this is where the storm is gonna happen because I have Barbados and I have storm right next to it. So I don't know if maybe this is where the storm is gonna happen, or or it may not be a literal storm. It could be some sort of a, I don't know, uprising or something like that. Um so Roberta, I agree. Okay, circus, which is actually the circus may actually get some, um, I guess increase would be the word, which is interesting because I think I went to the circus one time in my life and I was just like, okay. But it may gain popularity. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Okay, so health inspectors now, food places will start to become deemed unsafe, or that may be the incorrect verbiage. Food places are going to be getting pretty bad when it pertains to their cleanliness and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure they're probably already bad. But if a health inspector has to come in, that then you're playing with fire because you know better. Um. Oh yeah. So it kind of reminds me of, what I like. I really like Gordon Ramsay because he is just like a truth bomber like me. It's like your food sucks. It sucks. Now, he totally is softer on the kids, which I admire that because they totally need that because but them adults that are doing stupid stuff and better, I have no patience. I'm just kidding. I'm not that hardcore like him, but I respect his honesty. So his show Kitchen Nightmares is kind of like that. He goes in there and then every time he goes in that walk-in where they keep the food, it's always so disgusting. So it's going to be like that. Okay, so I'm pretty sure, I mean, who knows? The government may come up and say, we need more health inspectors. If they're coming out like that, then I think we're onto something. But I just kind of feel like it's going to be getting pretty bad, unsafe conditions where they're storing food improperly, which leads to what? Salmonella, get somebody sick, or even kill someone, depending on how, especially if it's seafood. You can't do that. You have to store that properly. So, yeah. Soliciting is going to be on the rise, and this may maybe this is kind of true. And I'm no, okay, or when you go to the grocery store and they have the people outside for whatever organization they're supporting and they are trying to get you to sign up for something. I mean, no disrespect to anybody in here that does this. I avoid it because, to be honest, guys, I am like so shy. So please do not talk to me. Okay. Like it's a immediate kind of like a shutdown, not a super bad shutdown, but it's still so weird how I'm still like that. But a lot of it is I just really have to get a feel for who I'm talking to, or, who I'm in a room with. I still do that now on teams that I play with. It normally takes me about maybe a month. And I know that's a long time. It normally takes me about a month, but that's just me. And so after a month, and normally I kind of like wait to be invited in to the conversation, and they're kind of just like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" Okay, now I can drop my walls a little bit. But that's just me. Okay. Um so it just makes me nervous. So they're like if they're at one end and they're not at the other, I will completely walk to the other end. I don't care if it's 2 miles. I will walk because I don't know. I just shut down. um Oh, that's terrible, Roberta. That's pretty bad. But I'm not shocked though, to be honest, if that is the case. Somebody lets them know, hey, health inspector is coming. So now all of a sudden you want to scrub. I think that's why Gordon Ramsay did that show 24 hours to hell and back, where it was like the same thing he would say in the intro, how people would know that he was coming. So then they would spend like all night cleaning and scrubbing. And so, yeah, so when you watch that, you're just like, wow, this is really bad. And people eat there. It's crazy. Okay, so people that donate blood, I don't, Ali, you have to give me a second. People. Okay, I'm about to get a little irritated, and I'm really trying not to get irritated. Just a little bit. So I'm going to try to breathe through this. Okay. Okay, people that donate blood. People that donate blood, I don't necessarily know if that would be a good thing. Because I don't know, I had this weird feeling the other day that people are going to get really crafty when it pertains to trying to pin crimes on other people. And I know that probably seems like something out of a movie, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Um, I just wanted you guys to give me. So I am gonna address your questions, guys, but you can't keep pushing the button like over here, over here, over. Like, please do not do that. It's just have some patience. Is it me? Is it me? Maybe you guys are maybe you guys are going off of my energy, because I can be a little bit impatient, but that's why a lot of times I just do stuff on my own and I just be like, I don't even ask somebody for nothing. So it's probably me. So that's probably something that I probably still need to work on. But that selfish stuff, I am completely unselfish. So I don't know where the hell that shit's coming from. You just got some dirty birds who are just really selfish. So, but so that's probably something I just still have to clean up subconsciously. My lack of patience sometimes. So I'm not gonna get onto you too bad. Anyway. Um So that donor blood, I don't know if it would be a good time to be donating blood. People are going to start getting really crafty. Okay. So just be mindful. Um, when it pertains to, like, like I said, donating blood or drinking after somebody you don't know, but you shouldn't be drinking after somebody you don't know. But there are a lot of people out here crazy enough to do it, especially whenever they go out and they, go to bars and go to parties and stuff like that, which I get it. You're having fun, but you just really have to be careful. It's going to be like a walking Law and Order or CSI episode sometimes when they're going to be trying to pin crimes, which is going to make it difficult to like catch the actual culprit. Okay, so now we're starting to get more into like the money kind of. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so there will be a big walking away when it pertains to the field of construction or could be real estate. Because I actually got that a lot of buildings will be left unfinished, which is not good because we need houses. You need buildings for companies to do their work and stuff like that. So a lot of abandoned buildings, which some of you may already be seeing this now, but I feel like that's going to increase. If this big walking away has already started, this is just a picture into what is coming up. Okay. Anyway, Sammy Davis Jr., which I believe he died before I was even born. I think his would probably be maybe 90, 89 or something like that. So there may be a documentary or there may be something tied to Sammy Davis Jr., but I did pick that up. Okay, so to continue on the whole walking away, leaving behind is, you know, probably jobs and stuff like that, important jobs. The energy that I was getting a lot was we're heading into a time period where people are going it's just going to be a lot of irresponsibleness. Irresponsible in a manner of where it's like, you know what, you could have kind of like avoided that by just, being patient, taking time to think about the consequences and then make a decision. Some of you are probably already recognizing this right now when it comes to people being irresponsible. I'm not blaming Gen Z because that is the stigma around Gen Z, but it's almost in a way like vibrationally speaking, even the rest of the generations are kind of like taking on this particular type of vibe. This whole, if I be irresponsible, somebody's going to come in and save the day type of vibe. That energy is coming across like across the board. And I don't really know how we're gonna like fix that, you know? Um, yeah, because I have walking out a Fortune 500 company. So a Fortune 500 company may be the next major one on the list where there's going to be like a strike or something like that coming up. Okay. If it hasn't happened already, if it has, you're going to see more of this happening as we move into Pluto and Aquarius. Aha. I have to go over some more predictions that I wrote on my Twitter, but I will also let you guys see them as well if you or hear about them as well. If you follow me on Instagram, I think I posted about these or I didn't. Maybe I didn't get a chance to. They're not the ones where I talked about Chance the Rapper and stuff, but I'm going to go over those as well because a couple of those actually already came to pass. So we'll talk about that too. Um Okay, so Child Protective Services, which this is really sad for me. There's going to be an increase in the amount of investigations and stuff like that. Now, some of these investigations or some of these Child Protective Service reports really could just be in retaliation. So, unfortunately, we may have situations where people are retaliating against people that they don't like, especially if they know they have kids, and for some reason they want your kids to be taken away. Even if you haven't even did anything to even warrant, your children to be taken away, but for some reason people are going to want to use that. So CPS is going to be probably maybe severely abused, which is terrible. Um because I ain't gonna cry. I almost felt myself getting emotional about that because I couldn't imagine how one person, how somebody feels to get a knock at your door and it's freaking child protective services, and you know you've done everything in your power to be the best parent that you can be, and you have knuckleheads, boneheads who are upset because they can't control you. So they try to get you in your most vulnerable spots. I couldn't imagine that feeling, and I would understand if somebody want to blow up the world, because I would probably be on that type of time. Okay, it's just terrible. So that doesn't need to be a retaliation point, but unfortunately I feel like it's going to be. So some of you have to watch, and it doesn't matter who it comes from. Some of you it may come from the parent of your child, because I talked about that. I've mentioned it before where I say we're going into a more a woman or female dominated society. Some of you guys can already tell this. You know, you can already see how this is happening just based off of things that they are, implementing and stuff like that. You already see it happening. But yes, that's kind of like the shift that we're going into in some sort of a way, you know? And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Um, but it can be, especially, well, and we're going to talk about this a little bit whenever we get into the Greek mythology part, because I swear I've been learning and I just love to learn. And so I found out the Greek goddess that is associated with the moon. And so we're going to talk about that story a little bit. And maybe it could be interesting for you guys, even if you're in here and you kind of like read tarot, you can apply that in your own readings, because I found it pretty interesting. Venus as well. I really didn't know the actual story of Aphrodite. You hear bits and pieces about it, but when you read the actual story, you're just like, okay, I can kind of see how Venus is getting a lot of credit here, but her story is pretty janky. So we'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so lack of money. Because there will be a lack of money in a lot of places, unfortunately, this is going to bring on a mass exodus, meaning a lot of people are going to be moving a lot. Okay. Some of you have possibly maybe even seen this maybe from like a friend or something, or family. They move to a state, is not working there, and they're moving again. It's like state hopping. And I mean, of course, if you have a job where you have to state hop, I get that. Flight attendant, or you just work in a really good corporation and you keep getting promoted, so good for you. But I see a lot of that happen, a lot of state hopping. Honestly, I have a family member that has completely moved states, I think like 3 times in probably 2 years. I don't even have the mental capacity to pack up a closet, let alone to pack up my house 3 times. Mm-mm. Okay? Um, so there's gonna be a lot of that going on. Moving stage, trying to find and I think that may be another thing as well when it pertains to the energy shift in the world. Everybody is going to be trying to reach this sense of perfection. And I think I understand why. Because again, in my encyclopedia that talks about the gods and goddesses, I just learned that Uranus is tied to heaven. Uranus is associated with Aquarius. That's Aquarius' co-ruler. So that would make sense in a way how, you know, we could be going into a period in society where everybody's trying to reach, I guess, their nirvana, or everybody's trying to, I guess, get to heaven. So you're probably going to see a lot of people turn their lives over to Christ, probably letting go of like, tarot and stuff like that. Because again, we're stepping into that energy, especially with Pluto going into Aquarius, where they feel like, okay, I need to change my life around, because otherwise I ain't going to get into heaven. But we really don't know. What are the requirements to get into heaven? We don't know specifically, do we? You have a guide, but what if there are some other requirements, or what if those particular requirements ain't the requirements to get into heaven? But again, so you may see a lot of that happening. A lot of people possibly like getting rid of um like alcohol. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Getting rid of alcohol, drugs, they're trying to completely cleanse themselves because in their mind, it's just like, look, I want to be saved. I don't want to go to hell. Hell is scary. So we may sort of kind of, I guess, be stepping a little bit into, I don't know if I could be fear based side when it pertains to religion. It could be, or it just could be a matter of, um, people maybe cleanse themselves because they did some pretty bad shit, and so now they're trying to cleanse their soul. So you may even see a lot of people, like Buddhism, or who knows, maybe being monks, or what's the other religion? Is it Hinduism? I think that's it. If I'm incorrect, please correct me. It might be Hinduism. But yes, stuff like that. So you may see like a lot of people converting to that. I really don't see anything wrong with it. But like I said, I feel like a lot of people are kinda, like, running scared because they've kinda, like, looked back over their life and they're just like, "Wow, I did some stuff and, God is not pleased, he is not proud, and I don't want that on my conscience." Mhm. Well, I kinda been ahead of the curve because I don't I don't drink, I don't smoke, and it's so funny whenever, like, on my soccer team, they'll be like, "Hey, do you wanna, like, you wanna go out to eat?" "Yeah, I don't mind." And they're just like, "We can go out to drink and have we can go out to eat and have drinks." And I'm just like, "I don't drink, but I'll take a Sprite." But they're so cool about it, so I appreciate that. They're just like, "Oh, yeah, you don't drink, so we gotta make sure we get you a Sprite or something." So it's just so nice. But, I just been like that. But you may see more people being like that, what is it? Just getting clean and sober. I am for that, really. It's just, some people may not be happy with that change, but I think it's a good thing. Now, if they're doing it genuinely is a different thing because some people may be doing it for a money grab because we're going to be going into a period of time where repenting and all that stuff is probably going to be the thing that you're going to get money for. I know. I know. Um okay, so thanks to affirmative action, we may start to see a deeper divide or a deeper segregation when it pertains to schools and not college. I was getting like elementary, middle school, high school. I mean, it's almost just like a schools. I feel like kind of like adopting the same, I guess, principles, or kind of adopting that particular method when it pertains to affirmative action. Which would not be which would really not be that great, especially, if you, live in a neighborhood that's not really super diverse, you may run into some issues. But that's completely unfair because kids need to learn it. Why the heck are you trying to tell me that my child is not entitled to a good education just because they're, like, not the same color as you? That shit's crazy. So yeah. So it's so it's almost like one of those things if you're kind of like living in a neighborhood and you're already in a good school district. I mean, might think about like waiting a little bit before you kind of move because then if you move into a different neighborhood, you might run into some problems again if you're moving into a non-diversified neighborhood and or a school system, which is probably kind of like already an issue, but I think it's going to become more of an issue. We are As a country, it just seems like we are going backwards because some of the stuff that I'm mentioning is stuff that I would think would have been done and over with in like early 1900s, 1930, 19. We should have been over and done with it at that particular point, but it's like going backwards. Okay, so it's going to get kind of difficult to make money. Some of you may be, some of you may be, kind of seeing that a little bit now about how difficult it is becoming to make money. But that goes back to me talking about, remember I said, in a way, the world is shifting to a manner of everybody just wants to create passive income, but not necessarily have to work for said passive income. So you also have to be careful of scamming. It's gonna be rampant. So, making sure me personally, I use two-factor authentication, and I know it's a hassle, it's a headache, but that's me personally. I've been on that preference for like maybe the last 3 years. And that honestly may be something that people should consider because I really do feel like it is going to go up. Okay. Um. Oh, I put the debt ceiling may crack, and honestly, I really don't know exactly what that means, but I put it down. Um. I'm trying to recollect my brain because I believe I actually did do a live where I told you guys about the careers that are going to be beneficial whenever Pluto moves into Aquarius. The ones where I think are going to be pretty good when it comes to making money. And they were Virgo careers. So Virgo careers we know is tied to healing, is tied to law, is tied to service, is tied to food, is tied to accounting. So those were the main ones I was getting. Either I put it in a video here, maybe I wrote it down on my website somewhere, remind me, or again I put it on my Twitter. But maybe I did a video on that here. I think one of you actually did ask me that question on a video, and I think I said healing, which would be nursing. You see how big nursing got during the pandemic? That is the future. I mean, it's already the future, but they're going to pay because a lot of people don't want to deal when it pertains to being in that particular field because it's a lot. It's very heavy to deal with death, to have to deal with people's sick issues, to deal with your own issues. Also therapy because that is a part of healing to me. So we have like doctors, nurses, RN, LPN, like CNAs and stuff like that, phlebotomist, people that work in labs that, study diseases, work for the CDC, stuff like that is gonna boom. When I say boom, it is going to boom. Because that's just what I got. That Virgo careers are going to increase. Law, like lawyers even or paralegals, gonna boom. Accountants, so work I mean, I know you may not want to, but working for the IRS is going to pay because a lot of people have dropped out of that field. So now they're going to be willing to maybe even double what they initially were trying to give because they have to fill in those vacancies. And a lot of people are turning their eyes away from careers that essentially are a humongous part of maintaining a country. A lot of people are turning away from that because, again, a lot of people want to go the easier route. Nursing is not easy. Being a doctor is not easy. Damn sure being a lawyer is not easy. Being an accountant is not easy because if you suck at math, you are not going to make it. Um, Books, I remember in elementary school, I used to have to. My job was helping be an assistant librarian. Indexing those books on those shelves, not for me. That is hard. So even librarians, I appreciate you because I did not do well. I sucked at that. I sucked at it. So librarians, good for you, okay? Because it's a hard job. So librarians, I feel like even. I think I said tutors as well. Because Virgo is also tied to skills, right? So if you have a really good skill that again is essential in terms of like teaching people and stuff like that, um, you're gonna boom because there's going to be a lot of self-taught stuff going around here going into the future. Probably career schools and stuff like that are going to become more popular as again this affirmative action situation has came into play. So people are going to need tutors or there may even be schools that are specifically catered to, they already are, but they're probably going to be more. Okay. Oh, I said food, culinary school. I'm trying to think off the top of my head the book of rulership because I did read the Virgo section, but there was quite a bit. I mean, it wasn't. Clairvoyance, astrology. is Aquarius, which will be fine because Pluto is moving into Aquarius, but I would say there's probably going to be a new wave of astrologers, I guess, in a manner coming into play. But clairvoyance and stuff like that, like predictions, stuff like that, maybe even tarot. I mean, don't get it twisted, guys. I still do tarot, but tarot can be really draining. It can. Um, but if I remember correctly, just reading the book, I think a lot of that in terms of like clairvoyance and psychic and stuff like that, I think a lot of that was like kind of like without tools. So again, like I said, like this, kind of like, more people, kind of like what I'm doing, come up in predictions, but even that may not really be a lot because it takes a special kind of person to give predictions that actually happen. So be careful about that as well. I've talked about it before. Be careful of scams when it comes to tarot, astrology, clairvoyance, clairaudient. You're probably really going to have to weed through the cracks when it comes to finding people that are really serious about their craft, that actually can do it. It's one thing for you to come up here to my face and be like, "Oh, I'm a fifth generation psychic." I don't give a damn about what generation you came from. I'm talking about right now. What can you do right now? Give me something. You don't have to give me your resume because I don't care about your resume. What can you do for me right now? Oh, you don't have an answer? Of course you don't. So you're gonna have to sift through because there's gonna be a lot of junk. And some of you, I mean, some of you, you should probably be able to kind of like recognize this now because if you haven't noticed, tarot and stuff like that is starting to pop up more in television shows. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit of a stickler for 90 Day Fiance. I'm not gonna lie to you. But the last two seasons of 90 Day Fiance, they've had two people, maybe three on there who have read tarot. And me, I ain't gonna lie to you. You guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay? You see this face? Remember this face because if anything so happens to come across my doorstep in that particular type of capacity, I mean, unless they are literally coming to me like for an interview about tarot, but if anything comes across my path in that particular capacity where they're going to start asking questions about what you do, oh, I don't do tarot at all. It's going to be a shutdown because me personally, I don't in that capacity when it pertains to like being put out there to the world in like reality TV and stuff, I don't agree. But that's just me because I feel like people won't really take it seriously. They're going to see it as a joke and they're not really going to take it as serious as I would. So I would completely go dark. Now you guys have my email and stuff like that, so you probably would still reach out to me if you were already here. But I would completely shut down. I would go dark. I would because I respect it too much. Even though I don't really know if my grandmother was psychic or my grandfather was psychic, I was just focused on the now. I was focused on strengthening my gifts now. That's what all I was worried about. I'm not trying to dig in the graveyard, try to figure out, was my great 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 grandfather and chief. Okay, that would be nice, but I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about me and trying to perfect my skills in this body that I have now. But that's just me. I take it too seriously. And that's probably why sometimes I feel like in the space that I'm in, sometimes it comes across to me where it's just like, the skills are there. The skills are there, the talent is there, but it feels like it's a lack of progress in my opinion when it comes to me and what I do. I feel like a lot of it to me is because I actually take it serious and I don't play around with spirits. I don't play around anything like that. I don't play around with you guys whenever I do a reading. I really don't. You know, you are an extension of me whenever I'm giving you a reading. I'm giving you a reading as if I would give myself a reading, which means I'm not going to play around with you. I'm not going to kiss your ass cuz I don't kiss my ass. I mean, you get the point. I just don't do that. So, I was thinking about that. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just one of those people where, if I put my blood, sweat, and tears in something, I take it serious to the core. It's not a joke to me. And I feel like a big part of people, it is a joke to them. It is just a way to make money. Some of you that remember from video one, when I was on the floor, I said it, it's not about the money. And I will continue to say that until the day I leave this earth. It never will be about that. Of course, yeah, I have to pay my bills, but it's just me, you know? And that's what happens whenever I take stuff serious and I really care about it, But that's okay. That's okay. Um, yeah. Oh, Ruby, yeah, we did talk about this like last year, didn't we? No, I talked about this in 2017. I said this in my little side group. I brought it up, and it kind of bothers me how it kind of came to pass. To be honest, just a second, guys. Okay, I know you guys can't hear me. I did it on purpose. I put myself on mute because I don't want you guys to hear my conversation. Okay, don't be nosy. It was, it's just about waffles, so it's not that big of a deal. But yes, I put myself on mute. So, I got savvy with it now. I went ahead and got me a headpiece so I can mute whenever I need to discuss. I actually have two. There's another one over here as well, but that one's not really that comfortable. But anyway, so Ruby, what are you saying? YouTube being exploited with a yep. Oh, thank you. Ruby, you must have been here for like a long time because I said that years ago. Like what, 4 years ago? About that time, whenever I said what you just said. It's getting crazy. It really is. Especially when it pertains to me. And I think that was another reason as well why I was just like, maybe I just need to take a step back from personal readings because I don't know if you guys are just terrified of me. There's nothing to be terrified of because I'm really chill. And some of you who have talked to me on the phone, we will talk for like 3 hours sometimes because I'm really chill. But and I don't know, I said that because um I was at my game yesterday, and by the way, I played a championship game yesterday. We lost by 1, but I did really good. Even the other team parents were coming up to me after the game because I was kind of sad. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little bit of a sore loser when it comes to certain stuff. But they were coming up to me after the day, and they were just like, you just did really good. And I'm just like, thanks, but I'm just crying because I'm so disappointed in myself. But anyway, um, we only lost by 1, but, even whenever we had to walk out and do the national anthem and all that stuff, so I had to walk out with kids like how they do on FIFA. I literally had to do that. And they brought a whole bunch of kids, and none of the kids wanted to walk out with me. I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like, I am not is it me? Like, is it me? You don't wanna but, I mean, again, being in the sport that I'm in, I am the minority, and, oh boy, these kids are something else. But I was like, "Oh my god, is it me?" Because that's just, like, so bad. They did not want to walk out with me, and I'm like and she just looked at me up and down. I'm like, I don't wanna say what I really wanna say because you got the wrong one looking me up and down like that, but I just I'm telling you, these kids, I don't know what's going on. But they wanted to, like, walk out with everybody else. I'm like, "Damn, that kinda is, like, hurts my heart because you guys know I'm a softie, so I'm like, "Is it me?" And so, like, the whole time on the way back, I was thinking about that. I'm like, "Dang, am I just not approachable? It's possible." Okay, I gotta mute. Okay, so I don't know, but then I realized that in my chart muting again? Okay, sorry. But then I realized in my chart, my 7th house lord, because your 7th house is like the public. Okay, my 7th house lord is in the 8th house, which, is fine there, but it's in Taurus. So my 7th house lord is at fall. So, like, right off the bat, people probably just really just don't necessarily know what to do with me. It's like my bubble cannot be penetrated. So it's like and then not to mention, my 8th house lord is conjunct Aggle, which is not that they call it it's not that great, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just not that great, meaning I could walk over a dead body and I wouldn't even blink an eye. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm not saying that's true, but depending on the situation, I probably could. Like playing a sport, I have no feelings whenever I play a sport. I really don't. I don't have any feelings. If your leg gets broke and we collide, your fucking leg's broke. That don't got nothing to do with me. And I know it's bad. I'm honest. But anyway, um, so I think that's just what it is. You got a people can't pierce my bubble, and I just am not for the play. So maybe it does probably come across that maybe I'm a little bit unapproachable at first, but I swear I'm nice. I know I'm nice. I don't need you guys to tell me I'm nice, but I'm just saying it can get kind of irritating because you're like, hey man, I'm kind of cool. I'm kind of hip, but whatever. um, yeah, Ruby, I agree. And so, for certain people like that, it makes it hard for people like me, or maybe even some of you guys who actually take it serious. It makes it hard for you actually come in the space and like make waves. Um, And I actually just thought about that. I think one of you guys that I did a reading for, you actually mentioned that, like about how much I've changed since the first time that I actually did readings. And I concur. I'm still me, but I think even the first time I did readings, I was taking it serious. But whenever I first started doing readings, I wasn't as knowledgeable about the tarot, astrology. I wasn't deep into the practice. But whenever I wasn't super knowledgeable and it was those buzzwords and stuff that everybody was fanning over, even still now, that's whenever I was getting the most views. But I'm not meant to stay in the same spot, especially not for no damn money. That's crazy. That means that money controls me, and that's not good to me. Maybe it's good for somebody else, but that's not good to me. So I kind of noticed that, and then that can even be a little bit disheartening because you're like, dang, what did I do wrong? But then you're just like, you do anything wrong, you grew up. Boom. That's it. And a lot of people don't want you to grow because they specifically don't want you to grow past them, because then now there's an issue, because you're not supposed to be growing past me. You're not supposed to be growing up. That's wrong. You're supposed to stay the same. I'm supposed to be able to highlight all your flaws and stuff like that, because that makes me feel better. So that's just my little spiel, even to you guys. You know, Nothing wrong with growing. And I have grown so much. Like, seriously. I don't even me. I'm like, oh my God, I've like totally grown a lot. I've learned a lot. Even my skills have grown a lot, but they don't want to hear it. It's okay. But anyway, um, thank you. See, thank you, Roberta. I agree. I said the other day, I'm just like more on the, it's like, but it's crazy to me. It almost feels like that the ones who are like, being pushed out like that, they're still frantic. They're not they're not, it's maybe not as maybe they're not personally growing, which is probably why they can still keep pushing like that, you know? And I've said from day one that I'm always going to give my 100% self. You're not going to have to guess with me if it's being real or if it's being fake. I'm going to be 100% human, and that's exactly what I've been. So it's almost like rappers who want to clean themselves up and want to change their lives and be better. And then they notice that they don't have any success doing that because people just don't want you to grow. And so then they stay stuck. I'm not going to stay stuck. Even if that means I have to give up all of this. If that is for the sake of growth, so be it. And I'm glad I could help a few while I was here. But anyway, let's roll back over to the predictions. Okay, so a border issue. Okay, Toronto may have a border issue if they don't have one already, but that could possibly be coming up. Okay, so this is probably where that faulty funds situation is that I predicted. Pension. I don't know how that would even be possible, but there could be situations or a situation where pension could be taken away. That ain't good, especially if you've. Okay. Um. Left the door open. Anyway, like I said, pension. Especially if you work for like a place for like years, now all of a sudden your pension is being disputed, or there's something going on with the pension where they don't necessarily want to pay it out to you, which is pretty crappy. Okay, so this one we may have to do a little bit of research on because I did not research it, but I don't know of any important laws that were passed in 1952 or 1908, but those particular years did come up. So we may have to do a quick Google search. Remember guys, we did this. Oh yeah. Remember guys, we did this way back whenever I came up with those 2 years. What was that, like 2 years ago? Lo and behold, did we know that our prediction was actually going to come to pass and the Supreme Court was going to overturn what was the major thing? Abortion. Did we think that was going to actually happen? No, we did not, but we predicted it and we talked about it. So we got another one. 1952 or 1908. Okay. Let's see. I guess some of you guys could be researching this with me because 1952, I don't know what laws were changed back then. Laws. Oh, I guess or passed probably would be the correct verbiage. And I've actually been, because I'm being a nerd, I've actually been reading the bills that they put on the Congress website. A lot of these bills are pointless. I don't even understand why the Senate is even. Oh, wow, this is a big one. I don't even know why the Senate is even um entertaining, or the House is even entertaining some of these bills, because it's like National Cowboy Day. Why does that even need to have a hearing on if it's going to pass or not? We don't need a holiday for National Cowboy Day. That bill is being heard in the Senate, I think this week, or it was last week, or it's on the House floor. But that was just mind blowing to me. And they did put a bill. No, somebody spoke on the Senate floor, and they said less people are interested in joining the military, which is what we talked about. Remember, we said those numbers were going to fall. And I think, I don't know what her rank is in the military, but she got on the Senate floor and she was pleading the case on how they need to make something to make going to the military um more attractable, I guess, or more attractive. Um and she put it out there clear as day. A lot of people don't want to go to the military because they don't see the benefit. you know, so it's like, well, yeah, yeah, unless you're high up there in the ranking system, what would be the benefit? Okay, so um okay, sorry, Ruby, but I'm just saying I just don't really understand the benefit of National Cowboy Day. What would be the purpose besides another holiday that we're not going to do anything with? Okay, I used to have a good pair of cowboy boots back in the day whenever I was smaller and my feet could fit in them, but I just don't, you know. Okay, so I did find a big one. A law that was passed in 1952. Did I say 52? Yes. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952. Uh-oh. It eliminated the contact labor bar and placed employment-based preferences for aliens with economic potential, skills, and education. In addition, the act created H-1, a temporary visa category for non-immigrants with merit and ability. I think we got it. It's okay, Ruby. I think we might be possibly on to something, because this, if we think about the where the country is at right now, especially whenever it pertains to um immigrants, we might be on to something, people, because honestly, I could kind of see there being a lot of issues possibly around this, especially the whole temporary visa category for non-immigrants. And it's so interesting actually, because there is a girl who plays on my soccer team, and she actually is from Canada. Now she works for the government, and she's having to go through this process, but she's like, she's gonna have to go back home, and she's gonna have to be back in Canada for like 2.5 months, and she's not gonna get paid. But it's a visa situation, and she works for the government. I'm like, you would think, and she don't work in no small place in the government, you know. She's up there in the government, and it's just so crazy that there's no, expedited process even for her, and she has a really, really important job. So it's crazy to me. So I mean, this may possibly be an issue, because apparently there's two. The act, it was passed in 52, but then they amended it in 65. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but it doesn't necessarily sound good when it pertains to immigration and stuff like that. Temporary visas, skills, education. I wonder if affirmative action is going to affect this Immigration Act of 1952, or maybe I'm thinking about it in the wrong context. Um, I don't know. Where's my little thingamajigger? Okay, trying to make sure I'm not on mute. Because the other day I did a video which I deleted because guess what I did? I put myself on mute and I forgot to take myself on mute off mute. So I did a whole video where the last 35 minutes was mute. And I was giving it to you guys. It was really good. And I'm like, oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. June 27, 1952, to revise the laws relating to immigration, naturalization, and nationality, and for other purposes. Okay. This can't be good. But again, guys, we're not going to say it's not possible because we said that them overturning a major law in history would not be possible, and it ended up being possible. So we're just going to keep everything on the board. What I say, 1908? That was a long time ago. Amendments to election laws. Oh, is that possible? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's possible, but what is the Act of May 27, 1908? All lands other than homesteads allotted to members of the 5 civilized tribes from which restrictions have not been removed may be leased. Oh my God. Oh, maybe that has something to do with reparations. Okay, so I think we got it. So I don't have a pen, but I'll just note it down later. So as far as predictions revolving around laws in 1952, so we have that Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952 that talks about temporary visas as well as what is it? Immigration regulations, which I could totally see them butchering that, revising laws related to immigration, naturalization, and nationality. And then we have laws passed in 1908. And this one, to me, it kind of screams reparations in a way, because this is about the land that was allotted to members of the 5 civilized tribes. But somewhere in here, I guess they enacted a thing where these, I guess, lands can be leased. But let's be honest, you really think in 1908 they're giving up these lands free? Like, here, take it. No. Like, here, you can have it. No, they're probably being taken from them. So we'll have to see. Oh, yeah. I don't know, Ruby, but this one would be so indigenous people may have some issues here possibly coming up when it pertains to land that is, of course, rightfully theirs. But again, as Ruby mentioned, we may be going into a situation where they're going to look at the verbiage and try to find a way to get around it because of verbiage. But that is not really fair because the verbiage in 1908 is completely different than the verbiage that we would use for a law in 2023. So of course you're going to find a loophole. And maybe it was kind of like the same thing when it pertained to the whole abortion situation. Of course you're going to find discrepancies with the language when it pertains to the abortion law because it was written way back then. Laws, House of Representatives, Electoral College, all that stuff has evolved. It's changed in a way. I mean, not really Electoral College, it's kind of like still the same thing. But you get the point. Verbiage is different. So of course you're going to find a loophole. Of course it's going to be outdated, to you because you didn't, that wasn't the language back then. So they may try to do the same thing here. Hopefully people aren't handing over land that their ancestors fought for and got hopefully they're not turning that over, but I wouldn't be surprised. Because people are going to be looking for a quick payday. Another thing, fabricating lottery tickets. You heard it here. Fabricating lottery tickets. Again, people are going to be looking for a quick payday. Okay, we have another act. Okay, that's 1906, so no. Um, oh my God, I can't. That's why I don't like Wikipedia. There was actually a couple things: 1908 British law, something in New Zealand law, Canadian law. So it may not necessarily happen in America, but we'll have to see. Oh, where'd it go? Employers Liability Act of 1908. Oh, the railroads. Okay. What is this about? What could possibly oh, I don't know. These are gonna be things that I'm gonna have to do some research on. So we have 2 things: Employers Liability Act and this, um, Act of May 27, 1908. 2 things. What? Oh, okay. Okay. Another thing, and I actually am getting this from the FBI's website. They actually said in 1908, crime grew. As populations grew, they realized that crime grew exponentially fast. Mm. In Brooklyn, a 9-year-old Al Capone would soon start his life of, oh, Lord, I hope we're not going through that again. Violence, corruption. The Ford Model T. Oh, that was 1908. In 1908, the first Model Ts began rolling off the assembly lines, which gave crooks, or we would call them scammers, both a tool and a target for crime. Okay, that's interesting. um, I mean, I'm really gonna have to read this article later on tonight because I think that's just so interesting. So now the crooks are not conducting crime on foot because we're too tired. Now they have cars. I said crime anyway. I don't know why Queen Elizabeth came up. I'm not saying we're over her, but she came up for some reason. I don't know if they're gonna try to come out with like maybe some sort of documentary, even though she like just passed away. Like give her time, you know. Um, I wonder where she went. Has anybody do you guys ever think about that sometimes? Like somebody passes away that's very, very powerful, hence Queen Elizabeth. And you're like, I wonder where she went. Like, did she go to the upper room? Or did she go to the boiler room? Or is she just waiting in the middle? Um, oh, hey, Ruby, that's a good one. Currency. I didn't think about that. That is a good one. So maybe something tied to cryptocurrency, or we're probably looking at um maybe countries becoming more progressive and creating their own currency, getting rid of the dollar, like, our currency, maybe. But that verbiage right there, that issuance of emergency currency makes me think that something is coming and somebody's going to have to be bailed out because of, who knows, war, something. Uh, I still think this is just my personal opinion. I still think that we totally borrow money from other countries to help the debt ceiling from not cracking. Which you would think that we wouldn't do that because, it's like, yeah, it's the United States, but that's just my opinion. I could be crazy about that. Like being indebted to other countries, how other countries are indebted to us, it wouldn't shock me if we're indebted to other countries as well because we just don't have that. We don't have the money, you know. Because where are we getting all these billions of dollars to donate to wars and stuff like that? Where's that money coming from? Because you got to pay it back. It's like credit cards, you know. You got an a spending amount on your credit card, but you still got to pay the bill. Um, anyway, so moving on, we're on page 4. Sorry for dragging this. So, oh, spirits coming to collect. Now that may have something to do with the Saturn and Pisces that we're going to talk about in just a second. Spirits coming to collect. Spirits coming to collect. Maybe a lot. Now collect, we don't know. I don't know if I didn't ask. I don't know if they're collecting people. I don't necessarily know if they're collecting money that was stolen. Maybe they are collecting money that was stolen. Depends on if it's, it depends on, I guess, the spirit guy. Because, I just want to tell you guys about a funny dream I had the other day. In the dream, it's so weird. In the dream, I I stole a bag of gold from somebody, but I literally stole it in a way of like, "Oh, that's mine. Like you stole that from me, give it back." It was weird. It's like I didn't feel bad about stealing it at all. Like it would belong to me. So maybe it could be maybe spirits are coming to collect money that is owed to their, children. Hmm. Anyway, okay, this one is kind of dark. Not gonna lie. Uh I know. Ruby, that is a good point that you have. Maybe that what you just said, maybe that is what the dream would pretty much was like. Maybe. Yeah, I can see that. Like you son of a biscuit eating French toast. I'm coming to collect. I'm coming to get my money back from you, you gold digger, because you're trying to take from me, and that's not nice. So maybe. So, I'm just gonna be positive about that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so this was kind of dark. Grave diggers. People will be digging up other people's graves. Now, I don't know if they're doing this for for parts. I didn't mean to laugh. I don't know if they're doing that for parts or doing it for something. But I see this possibly happening more, which would be crazy because I mean, I guess, but what would be the purpose of digging up somebody's grave? I really can't think of anything. I can't think of anything of why somebody would rob a grave, like dig up somebody's grave. Why? I mean, I can see that if we were possibly back in like ancient Egypt, because they buried their possessions with the pharaohs and stuff like that because they're taking them to the afterlife. But are we really going to be on that type of time where people are thinking that that's a thing? Where maybe some people are being buried with their possessions to go to the afterlife. Mm. Okay, and oh, there you go. Okay, thank you, Roberta. I was like, I can't think of anything, but then I put it 2 and 2 together. Um, oh, that's crazy. And it's so weird I talked about ancient Egypt because right underneath this prediction, I have the mummification process. I hope they don't bring that back because that just seems very gruesome. But I mean, I guess that is already happening whenever you get embalmed. But I don't know why mummification process came up unless they're going to do what we predicted a couple years ago. Remember I said that people are going to start digging up old artifacts from Egypt. Remember we talked about that. Okay? I hope they don't try to unwrap a mummy cuz that would just be so dumb. Don't do that. Okay? You guys are really disturbing these people's pieces, and I can see why the spirits are coming to collect, because like if you're going to bother me in the afterlife, I'm gonna bother you. Okay. um okay, so a lack of growth when it pertains to companies, which I can kind of see this being a thing already, you know now this is interesting, and because of this lack of growth, companies may hire back old employees, resulting in skipping over new hires. I could honestly see that happening. So, um, with that being said, it's like people may come out of retirement, you know? Um, but I mean, the benefits that they're going to be giving for them to either hang on to their position even longer or to come out of retirement, ooh, they're going to be good. So I would say the same thing for you guys. If you I'm not saying if you got fired now. If you got fired, I don't think they're gonna hire you back. But then they may. I don't know. Okay, we're not gonna say it's impossible. But um, I would say that if you left a job behind, maybe in the past, how many years, and you decide to go back, you will definitely get more. And it may seem like if you decide to go back, it may seem like, okay, I don't think they're going to want to hire me back. No, don't think like that, because you would probably be shocked that they will be like, oh, you're familiar to the company. We don't have to sit up here and go through these long drawn out trainings because it may not be, super sharp, but you have a good idea of what we need. I'm telling you, it's give it a try. I don't think it would be a bad thing. Okay, and then we have so speaking of Supreme Court, I did write down gender discrimination, Supreme Court. So there may be some sort of law or something like that that was passed, or the Supreme Court may be reviewing, and it has something tied to gender discrimination. Unless they've already did this and I just don't know. But yeah, that's where I am picking up. I mean, I can't say who's in charge of the Supreme Court. I would say whoever was in charge in a way of the Supreme Court was very, 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 very strategic in choosing these people, because this is what is going to contribute to the setback energy that is already happening. Okay. Well, Ruby, same thing, same difference. That's why I said either stay there longer, okay, or you get hired back. But you're right, you're right. I'm not saying that what you said is bad, because that makes sense. So those of you looking for a job, I ain't gonna lie to you, unfortunately the stigma is against you at this particular point. Remember, at the beginning I said the energy footprint that is coming along with this Gen Z, or I guess younger generations, that is the issue. Why a lot of the companies are being so strategic, and again, they may start to adapt, I guess, affirmative action in their own ways when it pertains to hiring people. And if they do get hired, they're going to hire you in like a very low paying position because they feel like that's what you deserve, even though your resume, your credentials say I should be getting paid for this particular type of job. You know what I'm saying? Again, discrimination is going to be running rampant a little bit when it pertains to careers. And I really hate that. So, so I would say for people that are having to experience that, unfortunately, having to go through that when it comes to discrimination, and of course, it's going to be hard to prove as well if you try to go and sue them. You know, you may find a light at the end of the tunnel, meaning maybe starting your own business if you're truly being discriminated against. Or for those of you where, spiritually speaking, your spirit team is kind of recognizing that you are being just like discriminated against, even though you are so damn talented. You wait. Okay. You wait. Something good. They're going to give you something good. It could be a business. You may take somebody's spot because they do something stupid. Just be patient. Okay, stay in there. Um okay. So, in terms of like inmates and prison systems, I did pick up they're going to start coming out with more early release programs. Why? Because lack of productivity. So remember I said there's going to be like a big walking away or something like that. So I feel like that they're going to be coming out with these particular type of programs because they're trying to get more people to work jobs that a lot of people just don't want to work anymore. So early release programs, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, either going to revise them to make it maybe a little bit easier, or they're going to come out with new ones, or they may implement more stuff, I guess. So yeah, it could be, implementing more programs that you can study to get your degree while you're incarcerated. I think that's a positive. Maybe it's just me, but I think that's a positive. Um, I feel like I watched a video one time on Facebook, and I think they toured like a jail in Sweden, and they talked about how good of a rehabilitation program it is, even though you're definitely in a slammer for doing something you shouldn't have done. But it was either Sweden or Switzerland. It may have been Sweden, but them showing you their living quarters, you're just like, wow, this is rehabilitation. They have a system to help you get your life back on track to where you don't want to have to come back here, even though you're in here, you got some good amenities, and it's good. But I just really thought that was really great to look at. That's just me. Okay, so something tied to an air sign woman in power. So this could be a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. I picked up the city of Paris. I'm not sure if it could be something could be happening in the city of Paris. She may be visiting the city of Paris whenever this happens, or she has a deep tie to Paris. So maybe her ancestry, or like her parent is from Paris or France or something like that. I got initials: V as in Victor, S as in Sam, R as in Rico. So I don't know who this one would be. Okay, so okay. The world, I don't know if I put this right. World or the water is really angry. I don't know why I said that, but I think I was talking about Saturn and Pisces. Again, going backwards came up again. Oh, maybe I was talking about the water is really angry because, of course, astrologically speaking, water, Neptune, or Poseidon is Neptune. So that's probably what I was referring to, but I'll go back over it in a minute. Okay, so this one is not really surprising to me, but it may be surprising to some of you guys who want to know, or who ask questions about if me and this person are going to reconcile. Don't shoot the messenger on this, but reconciling is going to be less of a thing for a while. Okay, I'm not saying this is going to be for forever and a day, but for a while, reconciling with the past, I just don't think it's going to happen. And this is as of today. So we could possibly say, starting today, moving forward, this is probably going to be a less common thing. Well, I know we're in Venus retrograde, which talks about the past lovers specifically. But um okay, a lot more fishing boat accidents, maybe even being stuck on a fishing boat out in the middle of the ocean, and it's never really happened before. So you may see more of that coming up. Okay. Issues with the brain, issues with brain scans. So was that CAT scans? Ruptures in the brain could become more of a common thing. And we're on page 5 now. Okay, this is the last page. I can't see it. I mean, I can see it, but I can't see it. Okay, so page 5, more petty crimes, which we were kind of like talking about that anyway. White collar crimes, which goes back to me talking about the whole scamming situation. Oxford, excuse me, or the Oxford Dictionary, something could be going on with that. Now, more family fallouts. Remember when we talked about this a couple years back? We were talking about how the family was doing better was going to do better coming together. Now, shit's about to blow. Family fallouts, selling family secrets is going to be big. Even if it's somebody's child, it knows no bounds. Lack of stability when it pertains to career. Unfortunately, temporary positions are going to be on the rise. So you just having like a 6-month contract and then you're gone, and them not even trying to consider extending it, or, just getting laid off unexpectedly, hence the lack of stability. But a lot of it is because of, again, I talked about debt, financially speaking, we're just not in a good place. So they're going to be trying to cut. Okay. Some of you, even if you are like, doing really good, the top of your game and stuff like that, they don't care. These companies are going to be very ruthless. Sorry, I had to get a juice box. Companies are going to be very ruthless. Some of you may have possibly already experienced this. Okay, spy birds. So you know how we had the whole spy balloons? I think that's probably just like a decoy, because maybe it's birds, actual birds. That's kind of crazy to think about. But then again, who knows? Iraq, which is interesting because that hasn't really came up. So it may already be happening now, or this could be something that could be happening in the future. Um, Hopefully not, because the United Nations got that more heart transplants are going to be needed. I don't know why, but I did pick that up. Issues with the soil, not good, and a lot of it is like it's coming from fire. Like like land is being burned, causing soil issues, or you may find more lands being like caught on fire. I hope not. But I think that probably is where I got soil issues from. Teeth issues. Okay. Air travel is gonna be a lot. You probably already recognized that whenever we were in the pandemic, but people are gonna prefer air travel over like the sea. So, I mean, aviation, I think, is Mercury. So we could probably add that to careers that are probably gonna boom coming up. So if you want to be a flight attendant, it would be, honestly, it would probably be a good time for you to do so, because they're going to pay. Now, if the flight attendants decide to go on strike, I think they're going to pay. If they do that, I think they're going to pay, because again, this is going to be a really big industry. The flight industry is already a big industry, but this is going to be a big industry, just based off of what I felt prediction wise. Okay, something about a plane tied to Lebanon. I really hope that we don't have a situation, because honestly, whenever I was looking at the cards, the way that the cards were laid, it made me think that somebody was shooting something at the plane. Now, it doesn't mean, it doesn't have to be like bomb or anything like that, but I just kind of saw it that way. Now, this one is interesting. We'll be going into a period of time where more people are going to prefer long distance relationships. Now, that is just crazy how you've either, been unfortunate in love so much that you just gave up and you've just went with a long distance relationship, even though you don't want a long distance relationship. It's almost like going into a period of time where people don't really want that one-to-one interaction like that. Like it gives you start scratching or something like that. And that's crazy to me, because humans need that interaction. You're human, you need that. But it's like it's becoming so detached, and that does bother me, because detached, whenever somebody has nothing to lose, they're just so dangerous. Okay. And that detachment, like I said, it bothers me, because you're going to see people becoming more cold. But to piggyback on that, with people becoming more cold, you're probably also going to see people faking it in terms of in relationships, like a lot more than normal. And this just goes, well, yeah, arranged marriages probably you may see an increase in arranged marriages, but I don't know how that's going to go, because in a lot of cultures still they do arranged marriages, but even when they start talking about how their arranged marriages were in the past, and they grow to love the other person, I don't know if it's going to go that way this time around. because the world has become too accessible when it pertains to social media and all this other stuff. So I don't necessarily know if it's going to go the same way in terms of, oh, we got into arranged marriage and we grew to love each other. It's like, mm-mm. Okay, arranged marriage, yes, but you still may not even really like each other, and it could be 10 years down the line because you have the accessibility to go and communicate or find somebody that you do like, even though you are married. So I don't really know how I feel about this cold nature, detached form of society. Um, because that's actually very uncomfortable for me. Because I like warm. I like warmness. Okay. So yeah, that's a little bit of a stickler, but who knows? Oh yeah, Ruby. Good. It's interesting that you mentioned food shortages because I actually forgot to write that down, but I did get that. But I didn't write it down because I feel like I've already talked about it like 4 or 5 times in past predictions about food shortages. But yes, I agree. Um. Oh yeah. Oh my God, that is so interesting. See, okay, I did not even know they had. Well, of course they got a video about that on YouTube, but I see them. I see that being more spy birds. Okay? But when you think about, being spied on, you're not thinking about a bird. You don't think to look that maybe I'm being spied on by a bird. You just don't think about that because it's not obvious. What else do I have on my paper? Okay, so the Barbie movie is probably gonna get a sequel, but I'm getting like 2028, which is a long time away from now. But yeah, unless they do it sooner. Um, yep, financial collapse, kidney issues may start to come up in 8 months. And I see more people being kind of like, I guess, nomadic. Maybe that's the wrong word, or being like gypsies, I guess. Um, just moving around, maybe living in RVs, or honestly, living in short term rentals. Like, I'm just here for 3 months, paid rent. Now I'm moving to a different state. I can see that being more common if it isn't already. So, like I said, owning land, owning big houses, I'm not necessarily saying it's a thing of the past, but it may feel that way. So, you may see celebrities selling lots of property, it's just they don't want it because they're kind of like shifting in a sense with Aquarius, that Pluto and Aquarius energy. Um, Calif- California, I did not look into anything with California, but I guess we can take a look at that. Oh, real estate. Okay, that's a good question. Gotcha. Real estate in California. Oh, student loans. Oh, it's interesting that you made that point because I swear I was thinking about student loans, but I couldn't get anything. It's like there's a blockage there. Whenever I heard student loans in my mind, but I just didn't get anything. Whenever I'm like, okay, what's coming up tied to student loans? And I got blank. So that's why I say I don't know if there's a blockage there, or they may put this whole student loan situation on ice. So I guess that kind of like would be a block. Okay. But again, if you guys remember, if you saw my thread, whenever I tweeted about Biden being in office, remember I said, student loans may be that thing that he may not necessarily be able, or education or something like that. Or I think it's the student loans. It may be that thing that he may um oh no. Oh, okay, let me finish what I'm saying. Then I'll address you, Selena. Remember I said that he may not make it through to fix the student loans because I feel like that is part of what his purpose is. Student loans. Every president has a purpose. And how do we know what purpose the presidents serve? Well, I'm going to tell you. Look at their Saturn placement. Saturn is no. North Node purpose, Saturn destiny. But I still will use Saturn. Look to the Saturn placement. You can include North Node in there as well. But that's what I looked at on Joe Biden's. I looked at that on Abraham Lincoln's. I looked at that on Obama's. I think I looked at that on Trump's. I looked at all of that in terms of what is their purpose. Every president has one. So what do we need? So from now, so since I know this, now moving forward, whenever a president pops up, I'm going to look directly at your Saturn, because we get the presidents in office and then we automatically are just like, okay, their purpose is to fix all these issues. No, it's almost like they get into office and they get one task, they get one thing that they need to fix based off, in my opinion, their Saturn placement. So if they, like Joe Biden's, his is tied to like student loans. So it would kind of be pointless to expect Joe Biden in a way to focus his attention on immigration, because that's not his purpose. That's not his task. That's not been given to him. You get what I'm saying? Um, so it's just one of those things where it's like you get an assignment, I guess, in a way, from the universe, okay? And as soon as you get elected, it's just like, okay, what is your one job that you need to do? Okay, student loans. Okay, fine. That's it. Everything else doesn't matter. Everything else is smoke and mirrors, because it goes against what my task is. It goes against that one thing that I have to accomplish. So if you want discrimination to be addressed, or if you want reparations to be addressed, if it's not on that task sheet that I've been given after I've been elected, it's not gonna happen. Forget about it. And I know it's bad, because you should be able to multitask and do a lot of different tasks, but okay. So student loans, I don't know. I think there's a blockage there because I really could not get anything, and I tried. I might have to pull the cards on that one to see. But California, okay, real estate in California. Because I'm about to say, you're gonna have to be a little bit more specific about California, because it's a big state. Okay, so while I agree, Jay Manuel, I agree. That's why I said I'm gonna look into that after I pull the cards on the whole real estate in California. But I agree on exactly what you just said. Um, I'm gonna see, but I think there's a blockage there. I don't know, maybe it's just me. But I just totally got that there's a blockage there. But anyway, is the governor in California, is his name not Newsom? Is that his last name, or am I thinking of the wrong state? If that's his last name, then he's about to overturn something, or he's about to do something when it pertains to real estate. Honestly, he comes through as the King of Cups in reverse, so he's not really actually a good governor. He is ran too much by his emotions. The King of Cups upright is not ran by I mean, he has emotions, but it's a very healthy balance. You can tell. He uses his emotions for the right thing. Governor Newsom, if that is his name, he needs to purge. Yes, it does come through like he is corrupt. I'm not gonna lie, but but a lot of it is because he may be emotionally invested in something that would be considered a corruption in terms of his position. That may be where I'm getting that from. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. We're going to talk about cancers in a second. Okay, how much longer does he have left on his office? Because this guy is coming to replace him. There's the charisma. Okay. I mean, don't get me. I mean, maybe I'm tripping, but the guy that possibly could be coming to replace him, he may be associated with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But wasn't he the governor at one point of California? Mr. I'll be back, Mr. Terminator. So maybe. Okay, Ruby, don't do that because I'm totally a Cancer, but like I'm on the chill side of things. Yes, yes. Because I just have my son in Cancer. But so easy on Cancers. I get the point though. I do understand. I can't sit up here and say that you guys are incorrect of your judgment sometimes of my Cancerian friends. Okay. But I'm just saying. But I have a lot of Scorpio deacons in my chart, which is kind of alarming to me. It's kind of alarming. um anyway, like I said, this person is going to replace Newsom. See, King. Well, it doesn't matter if he's a Libra. If I looked at his chart, maybe there's like a lot of water there, which maybe I can't. I'll look on my iPad and see if he has a chart on astrocharts.com. Um, Now, if the mafia makes a comeback, that's crazy. Mafia, mob bosses. Yeah, people don't like her. Aquarius is. Um, I mean, I haven't I haven't really been around Aquarius like that until like maybe 3 years ago. My coach is an Aquarius. Um, he's not he's not bad. It's just a know-it-all energy that kind of irritates me a little bit because it's like, me, you'll tell me something and I'll be like, "Okay, I can see your point," and I really will try to see your point, but with him, it's like, no. He's not even trying to remotely see your point, which is irritating. I'm gonna like um turn, I guess, a little bit so I can put my laptop because my backity back. Okay. I don't really care for this side because now I'm like darker. But who cares? I'm black. Who cares? um anyway, that's the only thing that I'm not really a super fan of when it comes to him. Like I'll say something and instead of just being like, "Oh, that's a good suggestion," it turns around and it's just be like, "No, no, no." It's just like it's like one of those things where they'll agree to shut you up, but they really don't give a shit. So that is, I guess, my gripe. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn back. I'm gonna have to turn back because it actually, the light does bother me a little bit. Just to lean against the wall. Okay, back to what I was saying. What were we talking about? California. Okay, sorry, I got off task. California real estate. I really need to fix my posture, but I'm just not going to. Okay. Eight of Pentacles. Okay, who said something about the Federal Reserve? Because I am getting that now. I don't know who it was. Oh, maybe it's going to be a woman. Now, that would be shocking if a woman actually ends up replacing Newsom. But again, we're not going to say it's not possible. Oh no, Ruby, you're good. You're good. Ten of Pentacles. Okay, I'm hearing like single family homes. So California is about to go through probably a massive renovation when it pertains to homes, properties, which of course we probably know is going to drive up the price. And that's here. This whole Nine of Cups in reverse, the Five of Cups in reverse. So what's the analogy? I guess they're trying to make shit look pretty because that is about to happen, or that is happening right now. They are renovating things, but they're really just slapping stuff on top of old issues. So there actually may end up being a really big mold problem or a really big problem with the pipes when it pertains to real estate in California. But um there now this may be because of a woman, but it does feel like there's some sort of developer, or there is somebody who is going to come into California that's going to build some like on a more affordable housing, which is going to be really good. But this will be 3 years from now, or 2027. So the real estate is going to get better. There you go. Thank you, Ruby. That's exactly what I want to say, but I kind of thought that was kind of rude. But yes, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Yeah. But yes, so I think that's what the price hike is coming from, because even the cards here don't really agree with this price hike. But like I said, there is somebody coming, but it's not soon, unfortunately. Yeah. There's still some more losses that have to be, I guess, dealt with in a way. And look at this, the Hangman and the well, here's another thing as well. A lot of people in California are living paycheck to paycheck. So there's nothing really beneficial coming out of California anymore, financially speaking. Even those people that go there for like acting careers and stuff like that, a lot of them probably work second jobs, probably work from home or something like that, and it's like going to get worse. But I am getting like a strong female woman figure, honestly, that's coming through when it pertains to this change. Yeah, the chariot. But we may have to go back, guys, at some point. I may have to do another live as I'm studying more about Greek mythology. They describe the chariot in Greek mythology being associated with two gods, and none of them are associated with the moon. One of them is Aries. They talk about how Aries is associated with the chariot, and the other one is Poseidon. So that would be Pisces. Fun fact. So Poseidon and Ares, in terms of Greek mythology, actually ride on a chariot. They have the armor, and they have the different, I guess, animals or whatever it is that drives the chariot. So maybe the chariot isn't really as Cancerian as we think, just based off of my studies. Because chariots were used to go to war. So that kind of makes sense in a way why it would be associated with Aries. Okay. But it's just me thinking out loud. But, so as far as real estate in California, yeah, it's gonna take some time, like I said. And it may not really be until, I don't know how much longer Newsom has on his term. It may not be until he leaves office. I don't know if he just got reelected. So if he just got reelected, then you probably gotta wait. Let me see. Because how long do they stay governor? I know there's like, is it 7 years or something, or no? Maybe he has 3 more years left. Dang. I think I'm kind of good. His term ends in 2027. So isn't that interesting? It's interesting. I had just said that 2027. So yes, we are close. Okay, other questions. Let me go back. Okay, so we're a little bit of a stopping point, I guess, in a way, when it pertains to. I already ran through my book predictions. So if you guys have other questions about predictions that I haven't necessarily covered that don't have anything to do with you, have something to do with the world, then you can go ahead and drop them before we move on to my favorite part, till we move on to the Greek mythology part. And you could totally, nobody's holding you hostage, but I'm just saying, just reading it is so eye-opening to me, especially now when it comes to the planets and stuff. So I'm like diving deep into this book. Okay. So I'm trying to scroll back up because I know some of you talked about some other questions. hmm Oh, Yolanda, see a cure for cancer or breakthrough in where have y'all been? I've already talked about this. Somebody actually tagged me in a post on CNN because they remembered that I talked about it. Because CNN came out, or CNN posted about scientists are able to move ahead with something that deals with, I don't know if it was all Alzheimer's or cancer. But yes, I actually did predict that. And they tagged me in it. I just don't remember exactly the verbiage of it. But yes, I did say that I feel like that there would be. I think I said it's going to be by somebody, a young doctor. I was getting a woman, but you know. Oh, well, I know Ollie's probably not here, but I don't think telemarketing would be considered here. I think telemarketing, they may drop that. I don't think that's going to be really that lucrative, but we'll see. Uh-huh. A lot of people are going to be leaving behind telemarketing for a while. I mean, it's still a good career, I guess, to sustain yourself, but it almost comes across in the cards like it's not really going anywhere. Or it's like one of those things where women are probably going to take over the telemarketing space more than men. Why? Because women are going to be using their looks, their sexuality to even more. Okay. Um yeah. So telemarketing you can still sustain. Yeah, devil. You can still sustain, but it does feel like that the cup will run dry at some point. Oh my god. Guys, my back. Okay. I really gotta get this posture thing together, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Um okay. Fed now, new digital system the government just I've never even heard of that. Okay, second feminist movement. Okay, let's see. Oh. Oh. Yes. Yes, there and actually this may happen in less than a year. I almost wanted to say free the nipple, but the next one may be more so. I don't know if you would call this a feminist movement, but the next one may be more so tied to like body hair or something with hair. I said free the nipple, but I guess it's like that. But yeah, something is actually coming a lot faster. So, yeah, I say less than a year. Could be January. The person leading the charge could be an air sign. It's not gonna last long. It's gonna be very short. But she's not gonna be able to sustain it or keep up with it. Whoever this person is gonna start it. She's not gonna be able to, because she doesn't know how to communicate. She doesn't know how to talk to people, or her communication skills just suck. Nine of Wands in reverse. But crazingly enough, it is going to leave a mark. It's going to leave behind a legacy. Or maybe this child that or person that's going to do it, this woman who's going to do it, they may be like a legacy. Maybe they come from, I guess, a legacy, if that's what we want to call it. But you see, they come across as the King of Cups in reverse and the Four of Cups. Oh, like I said, they don't know how to talk to people. It's too much. This Maybe they're going to do this by accident, but honestly, I don't. No, yeah, it's gonna be by accident because the Fool came upright. Fool upright to me, it's not strategic. He's kind of just like go wherever the wind blows. You come across something at the right time. But that probably, like I said, is gonna die very quickly because she doesn't know how to sustain it. And honestly, energetically speaking, people aren't really gonna like her, whoever this woman is. So there's that. Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe it's Ruby. Maybe it's that person I'm talking about, but I don't really think people are gonna like her. Okay, what? Who asked another? Somebody asked another question. Oh, Fed now. Okay, okay, okay. Oh my God, I had a name, but it went away. Shoot. I had a name. I think the name that I was getting is possibly the person that maybe came up with this particular idea, but it went away. It went away just that fast. So maybe this is somebody, maybe's name that I'm not supposed to say, or this is, I don't know. Or maybe it's someone who is quite untouchable. Again, we have another blockage here. Okay, Emperor reverse, Hermit. Um, this one doesn't seem very sustainable, honestly. There's a passivity here when it pertains to this. What is it called again? New digital system. I mean, but this system is created because something needs to, of course, something needs to pass through, but it doesn't really feel like it's very lucrative. We have the Empress in reverse, which is a lack of abundance to me. I don't know. Maybe this is just me again, but I don't know why. I actually get a little bit of escapism in the Empress in reverse. Because again, um, Aphrodite escaped from her husband, Hephaestus. I think that's how you say his name. And that's whenever, because she wanted to be with Aries. But then Aphrodite got snitched on by Apollo or the sun. So that's where, since we're on that, that's where the Lover's card, I've said it before, I think in readings, that I can see the Lover's card being like the book of Genesis when it comes to Adam and Eve, which I think still holds some type of truth, but that may have been also born from the concept of whenever Aphrodite and Aries were busted for having an affair. That's not a good card to show you what I'm talking about. Nope. Okay, I guess I'll show you. So this lover's here. Okay. In the story, in Aphrodite's story, her husband, Hephaestus, bonded her and Aries together because of course he don't like the fact that they had an affair, but he bonded them together to pretty much embarrass them in front of the gods. Fun fact for those of you that read tarot. I did not know that until I read that story. And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's crazy." Because if you look at the Rider Waite, if you look at the Rider Waite deck, it has that has the actual depiction that you would see. They're naked in the garden, and there's an angel behind them, but I think that angel behind them is actually Venus's husband, Hephaestus, pushing them out to the world to show that, look, my wife is pretty much a cheater and she's cheating with Aries or Mars. So now you're bonded together. Like, it's almost just like, okay, this is what you want to do. You want to cheat? Fine. People are never going to be able to forget that you're a cheater, because I'm going to parade you around the world naked so that you can pretty much be embarrassed, because it's almost like I'm embarrassed. So, and that was the thing with that's the thing with those Greek gods. They will embarrass you in the worst way possible. And that's why the tarot card of the lovers is not just they just want to be like love, but it's also consequences for the person that you choose to love. That's the other side of the coin. Okay? But that Fed now situation, I don't know about that. It's very passive. So, I mean, if I get, I don't know if it's like cryptocurrency or something like that. If it is, I guess it could be possibly a good way for you to make passive income, but it doesn't feel like it's sustainable. Okay, in terms of stable, worth your while, you know. Um, yeah, Five of Swords. I mean, there's something secretive about this Fed now as well. It's kind of giving me very silent type of thing. Yes. Oh, I wouldn't put your money in this. Yes. Oh, I'm trying to think of a. I don't know if that's happened before, but it kind of gives me that energy of you put your money in it, and they're just like, "Oh, I could build," or something like that, and then all of a sudden you wake up, and then they give you the bad news. Oh, all of a sudden your money has been depleted. So that's what it makes me think of the Fed now. But even I feel like the cards here are even saying it's not the right time to move forward with this. And maybe it could be one of those things where it's not sustainable now because they haven't worked out the kinks. But the way it comes across too, it just feels like it was thrown together. So that would make sense why I said, you have to be careful because you could wake up and you have no money. Especially if it's one of those things where it's built to hold your money. Know about that. Look, the star came in reverse. Abandonment. So that totally feels like somebody all of a sudden they wake. It's like if you're in your house, you wake up in the morning, you just turn the light on, or you leave before you get ready to go, just turn it off. That's kind of feels like what it is. Wake up, oh, we're just gonna turn the lights off. So 7 of Pentacles. Think before you. It's like try before you buy, I guess. But it doesn't seem bad, but it's put out there to give you the illusion of comfortability. And again, maybe this is just me. But now when I think about the Six of Cups, we know the Six of Cups is tied to Scorpio, which means the Six of Cups is tied to, well, since, Six of Cups means it would be tied to Hades. Hades is tied to Pluto. Or, Hades in tarot be devil. So to me, Six of Cups, it maybe can, but if it's an illusion to make you feel comfortable, it's like giving you all of your favorite things to draw you in. But that's the beauty of, I guess, that type of elusive type of energy. But you really may not even truly touch what you truly want. You know? Maybe I'm just digging too deep in the cards now. I probably need to put the books down. Because now to me, I totally feel like, and I would do this as soon as I'm like, no more personal readings. But now to me, I'm totally going to see the cards in a completely different way. And maybe that's why in certain books that I've read before, they pretty much talk about how the tarot is not really good. Probably because of what I'm doing right now. The meanings are I think because we are always trying to take the meaning so literally, but that's not the energy behind the creation of the tarot itself, if that makes sense. So now I'm going to be studying all 78. Is that how many it is? I think it's 78. Anyway. Okay, other questions? If not, then we're going to talk about the moon, if you're interested. If not, you can just come back later on because it's still going to be a part of the live. But now we're going to talk about the moon or the goddess associated with the moon, which would be, is it Artemis? I think so. I just slapped myself in the hand. I think it's Artemis. Again, like I say, I mean, I know some of you may not really be interested in this Greek mythology stuff, but I would say if you read cards, you need to get interested in it because the similarities are uncanny. And it's going to help you. I'm telling you, it's going to help you a lot. Artemis. Aha. Okay, so since we're on that topic. Okay, Artemis has a twin, which I did not know till I read this. Artemis has a twin. Artemis's Artemis's twin is Apollo, who is the sun. So you can see how in or in astrology they're always gung ho about the sun and the moon connecting because they're supposed to be connected, if that makes sense, because they're twins. So they're not really supposed to go that far apart. And and that kind of makes sense as well. Why the sun, well, I guess maybe the sun and the moon aren't really that far apart, not really, but they're not really supposed to go that far apart. They go too far apart, and then danger, danger, danger. We have an issue. But I want to show this card. I wonder if it's going to be on here. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. See the sun right here? You know, in the Rider-Waite, there's two babies, right? Riding on the back of a horse. The babies are Artemis and Apollo, the sun and the moon. How interesting is that? Okay. But it's not like that in this particular set of cards. The baby's there. Oh, there's two babies. Okay. There's the two babies there. That makes sense. Okay, so I don't know. That's probably Artemis right there because it's the girl. Okay, and there is Apollo down at the bottom. This is their mother. Okay. Artemis and Apollo are all good when it pertains to being in their mother's presence, but the issue came into play whenever they feel like their mother was threatened, so now they like pretty much want to kill everybody. But where'd it go? Because I highlighted it. I have to find it because I don't see it here. I highlighted it, but I highlighted it in the wrong place. But anyway, we might have to. Okay, I gotta mute. Okay, I think my child's gonna keep interrupting me. But I really, really wanted to read you guys this story about Artemis, which I just found it was just so interesting. And I did not know Artemis was a virgin, but obviously Artemis is the darker twin of the two. Okay, as you can see, my child wants macaroni. So I don't know. I might have to come back later on and maybe do something different so that you guys can hear this story, the stories that I have. I just think they're so interesting and you need to know them, okay? Because they are important whenever it pertains to astrology. But, I have to get off of this because I have to attend to my, lovely duties. But thank you guys, of course, for always sticking around. Thank you guys for always sticking around and being supportive and listening for this almost 3-hour live. I will keep it up so you can go back and listen to it again if you would like to. And because I didn't get a chance to go over Saturn and Pisces, but I'll have to probably do another live for that. But I'll see you later.